Every parent dreams of a healthy child. However, the genetic lottery sometimes holds unimaginable challenges. Today, we dive into 10 stories of courage in the face of rare medical conditions, reminding us that difference is a lesson in life. Number 10. Sam Burns, Wisdom Beyond Years. Sam Burns is one of the most iconic faces on this list. What was striking about him was not a visible malformation, but a condition attacking the biological clock itself. Sam suffered from progeria, or Hutchinson-Gilford syndrome. This extremely rare genetic disease causes accelerated aging, about 8 to 10 times faster than normal. For Sam, his child's body bore the physiological marks of an octogenarian: thin skin, hair loss, bone fragility, and advanced arteriosclerosis, a condition normally reserved for the elderly. Yet, his story is not one of simple fatality. It is the story of a major intellectual struggle. His parents, both pediatricians, refused to see their son as a victim. They founded the Progeria Research Foundation, leading to major breakthroughs in the understanding of progerin. Sam became a global icon thanks to the documentary Life According to Sam. With disarming maturity, he explained that he didn't spend his time regretting the impossible, but rather celebrating every daily victory. His passing in 2014 left an immense void, but his legacy continues to fund global research. Sam left us with a lesson: the value of a life is not measured by the number of its years, but by the intensity of the light projected each day. Number 9. Lakshmi Tattwa, Between Divinity and Science. In 2005, in a remote region of India, the birth of Lakshmi Tattwa triggered a medical earthquake. Born with 4 arms and 4 legs, the little girl was perceived by villagers as an incarnation of the goddess Lakshmi. While this attention protected her from discrimination, the medical reality was complex. Lakshmi was born fused to an ischiopagus parasitic twin. This twin, devoid of consciousness, used the girl's circulatory system to survive, creating a deadly strain on her small heart. Lakshmi's body could not support this burden indefinitely. At age 2, her parents, aided by a wave of international solidarity, took her to a state-of-the-art hospital in Bangalore. There, a team of 30 surgeons performed a 27-hour marathon operation. It was one of the most complex procedures ever attempted on a child. Doctors had to separate the interlocking spines and completely reconstruct the pelvis. The success was total. Today, Lakshmi is a young woman who studies and leads a normal life. Her journey illustrates the transition from superstitious vision to life-saving scientific resolution. She remains a symbol of a surgical miracle, proving that science can restore a life path where nature seemed to have failed. Number 8. Dien Van Minh, The Shadow of Agent Orange. Dien Van Minh's story bears witness to the invisible scars left by armed conflicts. This Vietnamese boy was born with a spectacular cranial deformity, giving his head the shape of an inverted cone. Unlike other children whose conditions are due to random mutations, Dien's case has a clear historical origin. He is a third-generation victim of Agent Orange. This toxic defoliant was sprayed by the millions of liters by the American Army during the Vietnam War. Dioxin is a substance that alters DNA in a lasting way, passed down through several generations. Dien lives at the Friendship Village in Ho Chi Minh City, a refuge for children suffering from disabilities linked to this poison. His appearance is only the visible part of a daily life marked by motor and cognitive difficulties. Dien has become the face of an international campaign to denounce the consequences of chemical weapons and demand care for the forgotten victims. He does not only fight against his anatomy, he carries the weight of a historical tragedy. His gaze questions our collective responsibility regarding the devastating genetic legacy of modern wars. Number 7. An Kui, The Burden of Hypertrichosis. An Kui is a young Chinese boy facing the heavy gaze of others every day due to a baffling facial feature: localized hypertrichosis. From birth, a patch of black hair covered the right side of his face. It is not mere fuzz, but a thick head of hair growing with the same vigor as that on his scalp. This condition, sometimes nicknamed werewolf syndrome, is rare and often plunges those who suffer from it into deep social isolation, especially in cultures that value physical uniformity. For An Kui, the challenge is as much physical as it is psychological. Maintaining this hair requires constant care to avoid skin infections. But school bullying is the most painful ordeal. In his village, he was long perceived as a curiosity that was better hidden. However, with the support of his family, he publicized his case to obtain help from laser dermatology specialists. Beyond aesthetics, his case reminds us that the world must still progress in accepting physical diversity. He symbolizes those children who, despite an intimidating appearance, ask only to be treated with dignity. Anqi teaches us that true beauty lies in self-acceptance. Number 6. Muhammad Kaleem. The fight against gigantism. Muhammad Kaleem, originally from eastern India, experienced a childhood marked by a physical disproportion straight out of a fantasy tale. Suffering from a severe form of macrodactyly, his hands grew uncontrollably until they weighed more than 8 kilograms, approximately 17.6 pounds, each. This excessive growth of bones and tissue made his hands larger than his own head. For a 9-year-old child, it was a total handicap. Impossible to eat alone or hold a pen to learn to write. The most tragic part was not just his handicap, but the reaction of his community. In his village marked by superstition, he was nicknamed the Devil Child. His neighbors believed in a curse, and school authorities banned him from classes, fearing he would traumatize other students. Fortunately, thanks to the perseverance of his parents and a global documentary, a surgical team accepted the challenge. After several operations aimed at reducing the bone mass, Muhammad began to regain partial use of his hands. His story is a victory of medicine over obscurantism, showing that the most desperate situations find a resolution through human solidarity and surgical genius. Number 5. Vardant Joshi, the foot of exclusion. In Western India, Vardant Joshi lives in a situation echoing Muhammad's, but localized to his lower limb. Suffering from a rare form of localized gigantism, his right foot reached colossal dimensions, making it impossible to wear shoes. Unlike many others, Vardant possesses surprising mobility. He can walk and run, but at the cost of considerable muscular effort to compensate for the weight imbalance imposed on his body. Vardant's ordeal is fueled by agonizing medical uncertainty. For years, local doctors offered only one radical solution: leg amputation. For a boy full of energy, losing his limb was unbearable. His family travels across the country looking for a surgeon capable of performing tissue reduction without sacrificing his leg. In the meantime, Vardant faces the mockery of other children. His resilience is staggering. He refuses to hide and tries to lead a normal life. His case highlights the disparities in access to specialized care and the need to sensitize populations to transform mockery into empathy. Vardant waits for medicine to catch up with his desire to stand tall. Number 4. Charlotte Garside, the giant of courage. Charlotte Garside holds a title she never sought, that of one of the smallest girls in the world. Suffering from an extremely rare form of primordial dwarfism, Charlotte was born so tiny that she weighed less than a kilogram and could literally fit in the pocket of a kitchen apron. At her birth, medical prognoses were absolutely bleak. Specialists doubted she would ever be able to speak, walk, or even reach her second birthday. But Charlotte proved to science that physical size has no correlation with the strength of the life force. Today, although she retains a doll-like stature and must still wear clothes designed for newborns, she is a vibrant child who attends an ordinary school in England. Her condition certainly brings serious complications, notably a fragile immune system and the risk of cysts on her internal organs. But her joyful temperament and curiosity eclipse her difficulties. Her parents describe her as a wooden little girl, fragile in appearance, but incredibly resistant to adversity. She has learned to communicate her emotions, to play, and to impose herself socially despite a world designed for beings 10 times larger than her. Charlotte has become a source of inspiration for thousands of families, proving that human existence is not defined by measurements in centimeters, but by the ability to radiate and adapt. Her story forces us to review our definition of normality and to admire the perseverance of an indomitable spirit imprisoned in a miniature body. Number 3. Tessa Evans, a smile without limits. Tessa Evans has a face that immediately challenges and provokes curiosity, often mixed with admiration. She was born with complete congenital arrhythmia, an anomaly so exceptional that it affects only one person in 100 million. Concretely, Tessa was born without a nose, without a nasal cavity, and consequently, without any sense of smell. Her first photos, showing a perfectly smooth face between the eyes and the mouth, were often mistaken by internet users for digital edits. However, Tessa is very real, and her joy for life is absolutely contagious. From her first days of life, she had to undergo a tracheotomy to help her breathe, as infants instinctively breathe through the nose. Despite this heavily medicalized start to life, Tessa grew up with overflowing energy. What makes her case fascinating for modern science is the revolutionary reconstruction protocol she follows. Instead of waiting for adolescence for a massive graft, surgeons use a pioneering technique of 3D implants inserted under the skin of her forehead. Every 2 years, the implant is replaced by a slightly larger model to gradually stretch the skin and create the necessary volume for a future definitive nasal prosthesis that will evolve with her growth. Although Tessa may never know the scent of flowers or hot bread, her family categorically refuses to see her as a handicapped child. She is simply unique. Her lack of a nose does not stop her from laughing out loud, singing, and crunching life with passion, reminding us that the essence of a face resides in the brightness of the eyes and the sincerity of a smile. Number 2. Deepak Kumar Paswan, the boy freed from his twin. Deepak Kumar Paswan's case presents similarities to Lakshmi's, but with an equally intense emotional and social charge. Born into a very modest family in the state of Bihar, India, Deepak carried on his chest the limbs of a parasitic twin that had not fully developed in utero. For the inhabitants of his village, Deepak was a subject of extreme polarization. Some considered him a deity to be worshipped, while others saw him as a creature of ill omen. For years, he had to endure pilgrimages from curious people coming to touch him for blessings, but also the cruel insults of those who saw him as a monstrosity. Physically, carrying this twin was an exhausting daily ordeal. The extra limbs drew directly from his vital energy, tiring his heart and lungs, which had to work for two. The skin junction was a site of constant irritation. In 2010, after a successful crowdfunding campaign, Deepak was finally able to be operated on at Fortis Hospital in Bangalore. The surgeons achieved the feat of removing the parasitic twin without damaging Deepak's vital organs. The image of the young boy after the operation, bare-chested and freed from this weight, went around the world as a symbol of rebirth. Once healed, he was finally able to realize his simplest dream: to go to school without being stared at and play cricket with other children. His story is a masterclass in human dignity, showing how surgery can literally free a soul from the weight of its own body and the prejudices of men. Number 1. Didier Montalvo, the metamorphosis of the turtle boy. Didier Montalvo, a young Colombian, lived a childhood marked by physical and social oppression of rare violence. He suffered from a giant congenital melanocytic nevus, a rare skin pathology that caused the growth of a massive mole covering his entire back. This growth had become so thick, dark, and rigid that it resembled a shell, earning him the cruel nickname Turtle Boy. In his isolated village, malicious rumors claimed that his mother had drawn a demon onto her child for having looked at an eclipse during her pregnancy. Banned from school and excluded from all community activities, Didier lived hidden, in shame and pain. The shell weighed about 20% of his total body weight and caused unbearable itching, not to mention the permanent risk of degeneration into malignant melanoma. His life changed when a renowned British surgeon, Dr. Neil Bulstrode, heard about his case. Moved by his distress, he flew to Bogotá to operate on him for free. The operation was a resounding success. Doctors removed the impressive mass and performed a series of skin grafts to reconstruct his back. Today, Didier leads a normal life, far from the stigma. His story is one of total metamorphosis, proving that the intervention of a single man of goodwill, allied with science, can be enough to transform a destiny that everyone believed was cursed. Number 11. The moment of unexpected cases. In a remote village, two extraordinary destinies eventually cross paths. Deepak, after his successful operation, has become a model of resilience. He carries his story like a testament to medical power. Despite the scars, his smile remains his armor against past judgments. Not far from there, a mysterious new case draws the attention of specialists: a newborn presenting an unprecedented facial bone structure. For the inhabitants, these children are no longer anomalies, but messengers testing our capacity to love difference. Together, they remind us that the strength of the human spirit surpasses the whims of the flesh. They transform their biological uniqueness into a lesson of courage, forcing us to look beyond the physical envelope to discover the pure beauty of humanity. These children teach us that every life, no matter how different, deserves to be lived with pride. These 10+1 destinies remind us that behind every medical condition hides a heart that beats and an iron will. By choosing empathy over judgment, we honor their courage. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more inspiring stories.